Together, we create sustainable food solutions for everyone and our planet. This is more than a beautiful sentence in a piece of paper that I wrote to my PR buddy a long time ago. Together means together on big letters. It is us, it is our partners, it is our retailers, but it's also the consumers. We cannot do this by ourselves. We need to involve every single person in the planet in this process if we want to be successful. We create sustainable food solutions means using resources that nobody else is using, like non-arable land and salt water. We are creating a significant amount of food that otherwise would not be possible to grow. For everyone, we create food for everybody, including vegans and people with dietary restrictions. But we are creating products that everybody can eat. And of course, our planet. We are really committed with the sustainability, trying not to interfere with other humans, marine or terrestrial ecosystems. Probably you've seen this number, many of you have seen this number before, but this is the main reason why many of us are here. United Nations estimates that by 2050, we'll go from 7.5 billion people to 10 billion people. And there's a big elephant in the room, which is how are we going to feed all these people? Today, we are already hurting. We are overfishing, we don't find enough arable land, we have, real problems to find fresh water. And once the population grows, what is going to happen, right? So there needs to be a revolution in farming, and we need to change completely the global food supply chain in order to be successful. This is the way, this is the what. Like, if we are able to replace some of the existing ingredients that all these brands uses for more sustainable ones, we would be able to create an impact in this world without people noticing it. And this is what we are trying to do. But we've talked about the why. It was the 7.5 to 10. This is the what. But very few people talk about the how. And we have no time. I mean, when we talk 2050, it still sounds 2050. It is 30 years from now. And in 30 years, we need to increase our production of nutrients and food about 70%. Today, that's impossible. So how are we going to do that? And this is the first approach that many people forget. What we try to do, we bring our, PhDs, our friends, our teams, and we create perfect products. And I learned the hard way that that doesn't work. Because if you create a product that is great, is sustainable, and then you try to sell it to the market, people won't buy it. So what we need to do is completely the opposite. We go there, we ask customers what do they want, what do they need, what their habits are. And then what we do is we create the best product possible in those categories on a sustainable way. If we do that, not just in food, if we do that in every category, we will be able to win the war without people even noticing that there was a battle. So how are we going to do that? I'm a farmer. I've been a farmer for the last 20 years. And in my previous life, I used to grow about 700 million pounds of vegetables a year. That's a significant amount of vegetables. But our main challenge was finding new arable land and consistent sources of fresh water in order to produce more and more and more. And suddenly, I discovered algae. Our algae, Nanochloropsis. It is the most efficient and the most impactful vegetable that I've ever seen in planet Earth. Just to give you an idea, this is the yield per acre in terms of production of essential amino acids, which is proteins, but in order to compare apples with apples, we break them into essential amino acids. So this is the yield per acre per year in terms of production of essential amino acids with beef. So you can get 71 pounds of essential amino acids per year per acre from beef. Peas have become the most popular protein replacement for plant-based consumers, right? And you can get about 20 pounds of essential amino acids per acre per year. We produce 6,000. So this is the beginning of moving the needle in food production. But this is not all. If you have 1,000 acres of land, of arable land, and you have to choose between growing algae or growing peas, what will you choose? The beauty, you don't have to choose, because you can keep growing peas and the conventional vegetables in that arable land, and we will use the land nobody uses, because we don't need the land to grow the vegetable. We use it as a placeholder. So we are bringing a food solution, not instead of, but in addition to. But when it comes to the use of water, it's even more impactful. So in order to produce 1 pound of essential amino acids from peas, you need about 9,000 gallons of fresh water. In order to produce 1 pound of essential amino acids from beef, you need about 17,000 gallons of fresh water. I don't even want to talk about almonds. Basically, we use zero, because we use salt water. Most deserts in the world are full of water, and people don't know that. They belong to all oceans. The only problem is that water, even when it's super clean, it's been there for hundreds of thousands of years, and we monitor it closely. It has high salinity and high minerality, which is perfect because we use a marine algae, right? So this is the technology change that we were looking for. So once we have the focus on the customer and we have the technology, what do we do next? So again, we go to customers and we ask them, what do they want? And we created iWi. iWi is the flagship brand. I mean, I've been in the retail business all my life and I love marketing. So we created iWi as a flagship brand, but also as a proof of concept. Because if we want to supply all those brands that we've seen at the very beginning, we really needed to prove that the concept is working, right? This is not just a PowerPoint presentation. So what we did is we started with very basic. We produced a very high content of omega-3. I don't know if you're familiar with omega-3s, fish oil, krill oil. What people don't know is that fish and krill do not generate omega-3. It is the algae they eat through their lives what provides them with the omega-3. So we go directly to the source and we skip the middle fish, literally. So in this particular case, we went and we asked those consumers in this vertical what they are looking for. And they told us we want high absorption. We don't like the fizzy burps. Many people quit because of that. And we want the product to be competitive. The yellow is the absorption on fish oil. The red is the absorption in the body of krill oil. The green is our absorption. We are 2.3 times higher absorption than fish oil, 1.5 higher absorption than krill oil. So number one. Number two, no fizzy bursts because there's no fish involved, so that was easy. And number three, we are very competitive against krill. The result, instead of us going chasing customers, within a year, we've gone from 0 to over 12,000 stores, and we keep growing exponentially right now. So what is next? Next is adding more SKUs, and now we are releasing what I'm passionate about, which is the protein. And if you know plant-based proteins, most of them, not to say all, they have the essential amino acids, but not complete. So most of them don't have all the essential amino acids the human body needs. Then you have the animal source of protein, and on top of that, you have whey and egg. Egg has always been the gold standard, okay? Our protein is significantly higher than whey and egg in total essential amino acids, and significantly higher than whey and egg in terms of branch chain amino acids, which means we are not an alternative, we are on the top of the food chain. And we created in Expo West 600 bars, and we just did a survey. We wanted to see customers' reaction about taste and flavor. They all rated our bars as the best tasting bars they had in the whole show. And then we told them they had 14 grams of protein, it was vegan, non-GMO, no sugar added, of course plant-based, we said vegan, and they had 250 milligrams of omega-3. What happened is everybody said, we will buy, and we will be launching this very soon. So again, it's about asking the customer. God gave us 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. So if you just listen to customers, they will tell you what you need to do, right? And this is the approach. And it's not you don't have to believe me, but many reporters are willing to scream when there's a story of success because you are sustainable, but you are also bringing good products. So we have a lot of followers in, all over the media. But what I wanted to talk about here, conscious capitalism, what have I learned in the last 20 years in business? And there's a common theme in every industry I've been running, and it's critical to use it here in a sustainable company, which is what I call the big 5. There are 5 big pillars that needs to be present in every company. All of them are equally important, and we need to take care of them and make sure that they are balanced, but there's a sequence. Like when you are growing a plant to sell it in the market, you have to plant it, then irrigate it, fertilize it, harvest, and pack. All of them are important. You cannot skip any of them, but there's a sequence. You cannot start harvesting if you have not previously planted or irrigated or fertilized. So what is the number 1? The number 1 is the boss. The boss is our focus. We need to focus on the boss. I see some weird faces here. The boss knows what the trends in the market are. They know what the price limit is. Of course, the boss is the consumer. We need to pay attention to the boss. They pay our salaries. They tell us where are we heading to, and this is the number 1 focus. Now, you cannot have happy customers if you don't have the best team. And in order to have the best team, you need to have a strong culture. You need to empower your team. They need to feel they are working in a safe environment. They need to be properly paid, of course. And you need to empower them to take independent decisions in order to help your customer. Number 3, your partners. You cannot do this by yourself. So partnering are, vendors, but it's our marketing team, our PR company, our supplier of bottles and plastic, our encapsulator. If you have the right relationship with them and you just engage your team with them, your team will be able to get the best product with food safety, and they will be able to do things that are almost impossible in order to help your team for them to be able to satisfy your customer. Number 4, the community. In addition to produce this food in non-arable land and using salt water, we are creating jobs in the middle of nowhere. We are bringing life literally to rural areas like in New Mexico and Texas that they had no jobs. And for the first time in decades, people are immigrating again from cities like El Paso into Columbus, New Mexico. And directly there are jobs, but there's a new hotel, there's a new store, so we are really making an impact in those families. And finally, it is the capital and the equity. And the way I see the capital and the equity is not a speculation. Sometimes people talk about that. The way we see this is when you go to a gas station or now with electric cars to just charge your car, you have to pay for the gas or for the electricity. And if you don't do that, you won't be able to refuel again. So investors need to be rewarded because they are taking the risk, and it's very important that we consider them in the whole picture. So in the end, as you can see, those are the big 5, and all of them are equally important, and there needs to be balance, but of course, there needs to be a sequence if we want to be successful. And I want to close with this slide, and this is a question that I've been asked many times in my life, and after 43 years, I believe I know So what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm pretty sure that many people have asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think I know that, and my team too. We really want to lead that farming revolution worldwide. We've created a model that is completely scalable. We own 1 farm, but the second farm is not owned by us on purpose, by design. Actually, it's the biggest farm, it's the one in New Mexico. It is 900 acres, of which 100 of them are under production today. And what is a group of farmers and investors that own it. It's economically sustainable, so we'll be cash flow positive this year. The reason we did that is, with this model, we can bring jobs and food to rural communities in Europe, Africa, Asia. And those units will be financed by institutions, governments, banks. Now, algae has been included in the Farm Bill this year, which has been amazing because you can get insurance. So that's huge, and that is really going to make an impact in farming as we know it. So failure is not an option. As Sir Richard Branson mentioned, we are the first generation that has to deal with this issue and this problem, but probably we are the last one with a tiny possibility to make an impact on it. So those two guys in the picture, she's called Maria, she's 9 today, and he's called Lucas, he's 6, they are my kids, and I have a commitment with them to leave them a world which is at least as good as when I found it, and hopefully better. So I would like to thank Conscious Capitalism and a couple of people in this room for allowing me to share this first chapter of our story, and I hope that together we can write many more. Thank you very much.